It's about time.
Welcome everybody to the terrible tournament of fun. My name is Jeremy Paul, aka Sleepy Juice, and this is StarCraft 2, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Now we are going to be going through the losers round bracket, so the person who loses this series is out of the tournament. Now we do have up here in the top left hand corner our green Terran player Snake, who according to Dizzy Banger is his favorite for winning this. Now down in the bottom right we also have a Terran player, our red player Chokeslam. Now we have this map coming at you from Whirlwind. Whirlwind is a very large 4-player map that in this cases we do have cross spawns, even though I don't believe it's forced. But as we work our way down here we will see this is where the natural is, and it'll have besides its standard setup there, it'll have a ramp down here to protect. Now, the ramp here is nice because there's no side jump ups, it's just a straight ramp. Now, the third base is just down the ramp and up another ramp, and that'll be the third base. Now, the catch is where the fourth base is. The fourth base is a walk away from the third base, and then at that point, we also have a ramp on the far side of it, but we'll have to keep our army up in this area to protect these entrances into our third and to our natural. So hopefully we'll be able to pen an army right around here and also right around here, because it's also important to note that there is a back entrance into the third base also, so we don't want to leave that completely open here. There's a lot of entrances in and out of the bases on this map. Now we have the watchtower here in the middle, which actually covers this entire center area. So most of the time that anybody just moves through the middle of the map, especially with these positions, they'll walk directly through the line of sight of this watchtower. Now the brush around the watchtower actually means that you aren't going to see people standing on it unless you specifically look for it. So it is possible to have an army move past the watchtower and not even see that the watchtower is taken. Now we do have an extra SCV coming down here for Snake, and we already have one out going clockwise to scout for the base, and it looks like he'll be building a barracks there. We do have a gas down already, so it looks like he's going to be doing something with a little bit of aggression. On the other side, we do have Marines coming out for Chokeslam, and no gas is taken at this point. He is going for the orbital, which will put him slightly behind in the short run on SCVs, but in the long run, mules are good. They're going to make up for it. We do have a reactor coming down on this barracks, so with the gas and the 2 barracks, I wonder if he'll put a reactor on this one, but with the 2 barracks, it does look like we'll be having Reapers. This SCV getting trapped out here, he's not able to actually get up there, but he is going to be aware. If the player notices that he can't make it up that ramp, they're usually going to be aware that that's where the player is, then they've walled off. Now it does look like Chokeslam's going to be making for a command center after the first barracks, and we do see that he actually walks his way up the ramp just to get trapped between the supply depot and an SCV there and is taken down. So he does do a scan and doesn't see much. He does see the gas, so that's going to let him know that there is some sort of aggressive build coming out, not necessarily just a command center first. So we have Snake here. It looks like he's going to be building a reactor on both. This is going to lead us to a lot of Reapers, it looks like. Now the catch with this is Reapers are not incredibly good on Whirlwind. Yes, they can get across the map really fast, and it looks like he's going to come up here and scout and see some Marines and back off there. So Reapers are great scouts as they move really fast, and they can get up ramp. They can get up like this wall here and there, but the problem is the natural ramp. We can kind of see here, there's nothing else around to get into the main here. There's nothing to get into the natural on this end, and the only entrance to the natural is right here, and it's just this ramp. There's nothing to jump up on the left side there, and if he puts a bunker down here, these Reapers are not going to be able to do a whole bunch. They do well against Marines as they can kite them, but if the Marines are just going to be inside a bunker, there's not really a whole lot Reapers can do. So the question is, how many Reapers is he going to make? He already has 2 out, and he's producing 4 more. So that's 6 Reapers right off the bat that aren't really going to do a whole lot. So if this doesn't work out well for Snake, he's going to be pretty far behind at this point, considering we already have a command center finishing up for Chokeslam. We'll see how he goes. He has 2 coming across here. He has his SCV that poked up on the ramp there covering the watchtower, so he has good map vision. Snake, we did a game with Snake before where he won his first losers round match, and he did really well with map vision in particular. Now, as these Reapers are poking up here, we can kind of see that, so both these players are in the loser round of this tournament, so whoever loses is out. They both got knocked down to the losers tournament, or the losers bracket, from a player named Grit. So, and Grit's already waiting in the grand final there, and the Reapers are gonna jump up there. One goes down immediately. It does look like they're able to take out a couple Marines, but it's not really worth it for the price that those Reapers were. So he's gonna bounce around here and see what he can do. But the Reapers, unfortunately, are gonna set Snake pretty far behind at this point. We'll see where he goes from this. He is still making Reapers at this point. He has 2 more coming out. And he's now finally switching over to Marines, which is a good call because he's going to have to go more into a standard game here. Now, he is going to drop the engineering bay. He's going to try to get ahead on upgrades. But that seems like that's all the Reaper's going to be. He has a lot of Reapers, and they're not really going to be very cost effective here. He's able to take out a Marine. Looks like he's going to take out a few more here. So Chokeslam needs to not just walk these Marines out there, let his bunker do most of the work and have the Marines back it out. He's actually going to plant another bunker here to just be completely safe from this, which is fine because he's so far ahead. Now we do see that Chokeslam's getting stim and combat shield all at the same time. That's great, but he's not building any reactors, so he is just going to be doing 1 Marine at a time. He will be able to get Marauders out there once he has enough gas, but as you can see with the stim and combat shields coming down, he's kind of a little bit starved for gas at the moment. Only bringing in about 100 having 100 at the moment we're talking here. More Reapers are going down there. Reapers are just not, unfortunately, Reapers as good as they are in this map just are not an incredibly great choice because they just get blocked out so easily. Now, so to get to this point, we had Snake in the losers bracket. He went through Gage and Dizbanger, and then Chokeslam. He's gone through Vast and Gage also, so they both beat Gage, and they've both been knocked out by Grit. Grit's in the finals already, so he's already won all the way through the winners bracket. So, and he's waiting for the winner of the losers bracket for the grand final of this tournament. So hopefully one of these players goes through, and then they have 1 more battle, I believe, and then they'll be into that winner of the losers bracket. So one of these has a very good chance of getting to that point, and unfortunately the other one will be completely out of the tournament. So nothing we want. We don't ever want people to be knocked out of tournaments, but it's the reality of life. So we do have good, well, really high saturation on that natural there. It's very good that we have a lot of good SCV's production here, even though at this point he's actually stopped. So it's possible that he's going, oh, there he goes. He goes with some more. When you do see SCV production stop a lot of the time, it means that they're going to go into some sort of army production, drop some more production buildings, whether it be barracks or factories, and actually go for a large push. Much the same as in this case, it'd be like a 2-base all-in. So we do have the upgrades coming down. We have Chokeslam's even going for slow for the Marauders, so the concussion shell. I'm not totally sure what exactly he'll be able to achieve with that, but he does have his factory finishing up here. It'll be interesting to see if he goes into tanks or not, or if he stays purely on bio. We have a 3rd gas coming down for a Snake, so he's going to be doing a lot of. He already has his starport finishing, so he's going to be able to get out medevacs here. He's going to be able to do some aggression, do some drops, try to pull that army out of position for Chokeslam, get it to go more to the back, and then push it in the front. Hopefully get some damage in that way, because at the moment he's a little bit behind. Stim is coming down just now for Snake, as long as he's also getting armor and being pretty good with his supply blocks here. Both of them have been supply blocked a couple of times already. So at this point, it looks like we're going into a slightly more passive game. Nobody's really expanding at the moment. They're basically just sitting in their base, getting ready to deal with what's coming. I think both of them feel that they have to be defensive at this point. We see that Chokeslam here has 2 bunkers there in the front. He's worried about these Reapers jumping in and not only scouting, but getting a bunch of kills on SCVs and Marines. Naked Marines have a hard time with Reapers because they're able to kite so well until Stim's finished and used, obviously. Now it does look like the Reapers are going to swing around here as the army from Chokeslam moves out, but both of those bunkers are still full. We do see that the APM for Snake is just much higher than it is for Chokeslam, so we'll see if that comes into effect. Now here's what we were talking about with the vision there. You can see Snake can see the army moving up. That army's going to walk right past the SCV on the tower and not even notice because of that brush there, which is interesting. Makes this map a little bit interesting. You have to go and put specifically a move into that brush to clear it out. And it's nice to actually stim 1 unit ahead and clear out that brush, and then they don't know the army's coming. They're having to guess instead of seeing everything. Now, we still have both players on 2 bases, and it does look like Snake's going to move down here and actually engage this army. The Chokeslam's army is just so much larger that Snake would have been much better off engaging where his bunkers were. even all the Reapers are going to come in the back and get taken off. Now Chokeslam's going to poke up here and try to take out these bunkers here. Only one bunker actually has units in it. And it looks like, oh, here come the SCVs. One bunker goes down. The SCVs are going to come in for the meat shield. Now, SCVs are incredibly good units. First off, they're armored, so they don't die as fast as things like Probes' drones. And it looks like they're going to get a surround on these units. And with the Marines coming in and also the medevacs over the top, it looks like the SCVs are going to win. But how many were lost at this point? It does look like we have a very large SCV lead for Chokeslam and a huge amount of income lead for him also. So that's something that Snake's going to have to overcome. Unfortunately, losing all those SCVs does not help him when he's already behind. We can see that right now the supply is 50 to 30 as far as workers, and 13 workers were killed. So we have a 51 to 38 there, and it looks like the almost double the army supply also. So Snake is in a really bad position. Now he is getting his upgrades, and unfortunately for him, it looks like Chokeslam's going for the same exact route. They're both going for this bio-based army with upgrades. Neither are really working on expanding aggressively, and unfortunately Snake has to make something happen. He's kind of running out of time because at this point, with the amount of resources he's lost on those Reapers and a bad engagement just then running down the ramp instead of waiting for Chokeslam to come up to him, he's actually pretty far behind. He needs to do something drastic, whether it be harassment to kind of keep Chokeslam pinned back and then expand aggressively, or if it's going to be just a great engagement where he can get a large amount of damage done. So something where Chokeslam gets funneled in, or if he gets AoE and gets really good Widowmine shots or tank shots off. Those things would help him get back in the game. Now, he is doing really good with his scouting again. Snake is amazing as his scouting. And it looks like he's able to throw down a scan and see exactly where the army is again. So Snake always knows where the army is. He's doing really good on that. He always has good map presence, which is great. He's gonna, unfortunately, in this case, he's just so far behind that it's really not mattering a whole lot. Meanwhile, Chokeslam's armies here is going to come in and take out this barracks. There's just nothing here to counter that army. And unfortunately, if Snake were to move out to take this army, he'd be giving up that advantage again. And as it looks, he's going to end up doing it anyway, so we'll see how this turns out. Now, Snake's army in this position is actually larger than Chokeslam's, because Chokeslam has some army back at his base also. So we'll see how this goes. Now, reinforcements are meeting up with Chokeslam's army, and the question is whether or not we're going to see. Now, Snake's APM is going to actually, I think he's going to pull this out. His APM there, he was able to micro his units forward, make sure that all of them had surface area to shoot. Meanwhile, unfortunately, Chokeslam wasn't really microing very much at all, but his higher medevac count and the higher units with the reinforcements were actually able to push through. Now, the question is, what is he going to do with this? Because it's not a large enough army to actually poke out. And you can see he still has those bunkers in the front of his base as we're kind of checking his saturation here. That's okay. We have no SCVs so far at the third base that he's taken, but at least he's pushed forward and taken a third base, which is very good. And you can see he's making up for it with his mules, and his income is much higher than Snake is, almost like 800 minerals a minute, or however they measure that. I'm not totally sure how that's measured. So we do see Snake pushing out again. Wonderful, always using his Marines, just a single Marine to poke out. We can see that his saturation is kind of a little bit heavy in this point, for he's not able to take that third expansion. Meanwhile, Chokeslam's kind of jockeying here to move into position to see for what bases have been taken. Hopefully catch him off guard. He doesn't really have great vision of Snake. He never seems to do a whole lot of scouting, but at this point he's so far ahead that he can kind of do that. You can see all his production just rallied up to the front. I know he's going to actually see this command center come down, but he's going ahead and moving ahead anyways. I'm not sure if he actually saw it. He obviously could have seen it, but whether or not he was looking in that exact spot at that exact time, at least he'll see it on his mini-map when he looks down at that. Now, he is going to try to fight up on this ramp here. Now, this is a good engagement for Snake here, and Chokeslam's going to have to back out of that. You can see Snake again with almost at 300 APM, 250 to 300 every time he goes in the battle. But it does look like the SCVs are going to pull onto the line again, and it looks like he's going to trap all these Marines here. Now, he should be able to load these up into the medevac and pull away, but he's actually going to just fly his medevacs away and leave these Marines and Marauders here to die. So, unfortunately, those guys, the medevacs almost came back in and then thought better of it. And it looks like they're going to actually pay for that. One medevac looks like it goes down there. He's going to try to catch the second medevac here. And, oh, meanwhile, Chokeslam doing a very good thing. He's going to actually push in and try to take out this third base here. It does look like Snake's going to have enough units to come in and clean this up. But again, his third base is being denied. He's still stuck on those 2 bases. No SCVs out here at all for that third base. He's going to have to rely purely on mules. Now, Chokeslam's army is incredibly large, but it's kind of piecemeal. It's here, it's there. There's some of it back at his base. He still has bunkers full on his ramp. He has a single Marines moving in and out, but this is good to see him trying to scout this. This is what we were missing a little bit earlier in the game. Now, it does look like with the mules there on the third, Snake's going to be able to get some income in here to make a defense force. And really, Chokeslam's just using mules on his third also. Now, we look at the upgrades, and you can see that Snake is actually ahead in upgrades. He has the armor attack. He has 3 attack. Oh, and we have another good engagement here, but unfortunately, Snake doesn't. Oh, he does. Snake has enough to push through here. So what is Chokeslam going to do? Chokeslam's army is a lot larger than Snake is, but again, it's not put together. It's in different places. He's getting in these engagements that are full army engagements, not little harassing engagement points, and just not going with his full army there. Now, looks like Snake's army is going to pick off another single unit that's been put out here, which is good scouting. He knows at least where Snake's army is. Chokeslam's aware of that. With Snake, again, having that Marine on the side, waiting for a command center to going down, he's going to come down and push down up the back door of the third we were talking about before and try to get in there. Now, we do have the observers pointing out that there's no AoE. We have no tanks. They are going pure bio. There's no mines to come in to do any AoE on the damage. But in this case, in this base, Chokeslam does in fact have 3 different tanks up there in their good positioning. Now, the tanks going down is not the end of the world because of the amount of bio that they're taking out with them. And he's able to park another tank at that ramp down just in case they tried to cut in. It's very good to see armies come in, poke at something, then cut, and actually try to take out another place. But it looks like Chokeslam's army is going to actually intercept here in the mid-flight, see if they can take down any of it. We have a couple Marines going down. There goes a medevac, and Snake's going to have to pull back here. He's not that far behind on the amount of resources lost, but all those resources he put into those Reapers at the beginning have really handicapped him because of the amount of economy that Chokeslam was able to put out in that same amount of time while keeping all the damage from those Reapers at bay. Now, it looks like Chokeslam is going to be stuck in between SCVs and Marines here, but he's able to easily knock out the SCVs with the stim and his upgrades and take out the command center. And Snake is again down to 2 bases, and it looks like he's going to end up having to tap out here. This army for Chokeslam is just huge, and he's able to come in here, just waltz right up the ramp. The SCVs are getting pulled again, but all the medevacs and all the Marines and Marauders are just going to plow through him. I don't think there's any way that a Snake's going to win this one. And there he goes. He taps out with a GG. And that's it for game number 1. Now that's going to put Chokeslam up 1-0 here in a best of 3. So we'll see. We'll come back for game number 2 and see who wins.